On any normal earnings call where we have just been profitable and where we're going to be profitable for the next couple quarters, which opens up the possibility beyond the S&P, where the U.S. market grew by 28% and where we made $187 million in free cash flow, that would be the thing that was the most exciting. But in fact, what's most exciting about Palantir is we have our ability to launch products that are literally the only products on the market and that will in fact change your life and will determine who succeeds and who fails across enterprise, both government and commercial. The large language model revolution is one that will raise ships and sink ships. Of course, the profitability is important. Of course, the fact that we make free cash flow is important, but it's not nearly as exciting as our ability to invest our resources and our founder-led energy in using our things we have built to supply enterprises with an otherwise not available and in crazy high demand product. And given the receptivity of the market, also not to mention that we have been profitable now, we expect to be eligible for the S&P. That positions us to fulfill our new aspiration. It allows us to see in the future how we would do that, which is to simply be the most valuable enterprise software company in the world. And we are joyous for this moment.
Welcome back. In this video, we are hopefully preparing just one last time for what will end up being Palantir's official inclusion in the S&P 500 index, which, at the time you're watching this, could be just a few hours away. The rumor is this will be happening on Friday, March 1st. And the reason for this is we have the 2024 index rebalancing calendar for S&P 500. When does that happen? The next quarterly date for that is March 1st, as it says here, for an announcement. So in this video, I want to talk more about the inclusion, what it means, what I think is going to happen in the short term to the stock, and more. But first, I want to play you a clip when Alex Karp had announced that they would be eligible for it.
Our next question is from Michael, who asks, with potential S&P 500 inclusion, how does that correlate with the company's prospects on profitability moving forward?
I'm sure there's a prepared answer here, but I believe, or I know that we are outsiders, and this outsider status is one of the main reasons we built all these products, because we never ever thought anyone would buy our products except for that they were disruptive and unique. And that's in many, if you look at the products we built, but also in somehow our uncanny preparedness for this moment, it's because we approach this as we have to succeed under adverse conditions. And my interest in profitability is for obvious reasons, but it's also, I think, we'll just be in a much stronger position as it becomes clear that we qualify for participation in the S&P. And a lot of people look at us afresh, anew, and will begin to look closer at our strengths. But in any case, this is the outsider strategy is we are going to be profitable. We're going to, within the context of being profitable, we are going to take all resources and disrupt, especially in the US of A, and we are going to use the profitability to scale our business and to scale the attractiveness of our business to new investors.
Our next question is from Josmar, who asks, what's the latest on potential S&P 500 inclusion?
The latest is we expect to be eligible after we report Q3. And so we're proud to say we're less than a quarter away.
From eligibility.
From eligibility. We've delivered 3 consecutive quarters of GAAP profitability. Looking at the first half of the year, $285 million in adjusted free cash flow. Close to almost $1 billion since we've gone public. AIP is going to be transformative. You've heard Alex talk about the scale that we think it could be. We've talked about reorienting the company around it. Earlier, I spoke about how we're reorienting our compensation about it. You combine that, GAAP profitability, strong cash flow, AIP. The board just authorized $1 billion stock buyback, which aligns with our goal of S&P 500 inclusion.
We are very focused on investing in ourselves. We are not as focused on acquiring other companies. We believe we have the right products and/or we will build them. So we are investing in what we do, what we believe are the best in the world. Very little interest in products we see on the market.
And so it's really an investment in ourselves, in our talent, through changing the compensation, and our ability to retain people by making sure we're focused on a mission that is crazy important to us and the world, in showing our belief with actual real attendees, and running like hell.
So in terms of my expectations of what happens to the stock from here, I think we already have seen a bit of, in the last 5 days, down from under 23 to above 25, a bit of a rally in anticipation of this potentially happening. And I'm happy to stake some of my reputation on this, because I was one of the only people to be saying I didn't think it was going to happen last year. I thought it was going to happen the beginning of this year. So I do think it is very likely Palantir gets inducted into the S&P 500. However, does that mean you should do anything about it, right? A couple days left. Is there any moves you should make in your portfolio? I would say no. Now, of course, that's a personal decision if you want to play this inclusion somehow, but I do not think there is enough of a move to the upside to be making any short-term gambles. Now, that is just my opinion, but since the S&P 500 is market cap weighted, and let's have a look at Palantir's market cap currently, 55 billion. It's a relatively small fish at this point, not like when Tesla was inducted where it was 500 billion and there was immense demand. So ultimately, I wouldn't say this is a non-event, of course not, but I think a lot of the move has been priced in. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised to see Palantir squeeze to $30 in the scenario where a lot of the institutions weren't properly prepared or weren't expecting it to get announced this Friday. So I would love to know what you think about this, what odds you give it happening this week, and if it doesn't get announced, what do you think the holdup will be, the reason that they give for why Palantir is not included in the S&P 500 after more than four full quarters leading to a full year of profitability and a very strong and growing business and strong cash and no debt obligations. What do you think would stop Palantir from being included if they aren't announced this Friday?
Alex, as always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
You're my favorite investors. I say it every call. A lot of the decisions we make are made because we are in full alignment with you. There's a tendency among elites to overlook your knowledge. My experience is the people that pay attention to the product, how the product's used, and are more accurate in the strengths and weaknesses of PG, Foundry, semantic layer, and now AI are very often people investing their own money. And I now, as we become profitable in the next 2 quarters, I expect that we will become part of the S&P and we'll have many more institutional investors. But I will not stop valuing you, and I appreciate your support.
I would love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Until next time.